I want to be crystal clear about something. When I say that I support a free Palestine, it's not based just on the belief that what Israel is doing right now is wrong. It is based off the belief in the thorough research that I have done that indicates that the whole Zionist movement has been corrupt every step of the way. I was on the phone with my mom just now, and this doesn't happen often, but the topic landed on Palestine. And the reason we don't talk about it a lot is because my mom is a Zionist. So we're talking, and we're agreeing over the fact that what Israel has done over the last 6 months has been unacceptable. But then my mom says something along the lines of, but you do need to understand, age groups started all of this, and Israel has the right to defend itself. I know, classic Zionist talking point. So my response is, no, Mom, age group didn't start this. This started 100 years ago. And of course the response is, well, Palestine was offered a two-state solution 6 times and they rejected it every single time. And they got more than half the land and they got the better land. And I said, no, Mom, that's just straight up not the truth. It might have been what you've been told and what most Zionists believe. But I've done the research. And for example, if you read The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine by Ilan Pappé, he goes into a part of it where he says that the Palestinians were never part of the partition plan discussion. Well, according to Zionism, Palestinians rejected this plan, these offers of peace, multiple times. But the reality is this. Jews own less than 10% of the land in Palestine before the partition plan. So imagine, you're a Palestinian, you and your family have existed on this land for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And all of a sudden, someone comes to you with this plan and says, hey, we're taking away more than half of your land and giving it to these people that just got here. And you're going to be okay with that no matter what. Wouldn't you reject that too? And not only did the Jewish state get almost 55% of the land, they got the most fertile parts of the land. And though people like David Ben-Gurion were very vocally adamant about a two-state solution in public, in private, it was not the case. It's interesting because I went to Jewish day school for kindergarten through 8th grade, and even there, while they withheld so many truths from us, they told us about the partition plan and that while it was not ideal for the Jewish people, they accepted the partition plan because the plan was to get the rest of Israel later on. This is what I was told even when I was being indoctrinated by Zionism. And when we were taught this, it wasn't a problem because we believed without a doubt that the land belonged to the Jewish people no matter what. Plenty of people will deny the Nakba, which I think is absolutely absurd because it's the same people that would be so offended by any sort of Holocaust denial. Then there are people that are saying that Palestinians deserve the Nakba because they tried to attack when Israel declared its independence. That's also not the case, and you'd find that out pretty easily if you just closed your laptop and picked up a book. Before 1948, when the partition plan came into effect, the Jewish forces known as the Haganah would go systematically throughout Palestinian villages and ethnically cleanse them one by one. And there is written documentation of David Ben-Gurion telling these troops to cleanse these villages. So when the neighboring Arab countries heard about all of this, they started to gather troops to try and defend these Palestinian villages. And there's this narrative that the Arabs were this mighty army and that the Jews were these feeble little people who somehow survived, and that's not the case. In fact, David Ben-Gurion worked really hard to ensure that that Arab army didn't have all of its might. Before declaring independence, David Ben-Gurion had actually approached the Prince of Jordan. He said, if you refrain from sending any troops to defend the Palestinian villages, once we take control of the entire land, we will give you the West Bank. That can become part of Jordan. And guess what? When the Zionist army won, guess who got control of the West Bank? Just guess. This entire video has been unscripted. I am just talking to you from my own memory of the things that I have learned in the last 4 years. And I didn't even have to memorize them. They're just things that stuck with me so much that I just couldn't forget them. It was horrific spending my entire life learning the Zionist narrative and then finding out the rest of the story. That changes a person. So no, I'm not standing for Palestine because it's trendy or it's cool or it gets me attention. I'm standing for Palestine because it is the right thing to do, and I am so public about it because I know that I will never, ever change my mind now that I know the truth.